Hello everyone, this is Remlays from 40k Theories, and welcome to this newest episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. For this episode, nominated on Patreon by The Ginger Lord, we will be taking a brief look at the insidious Alpha Legion. This video will be a brief overview for certain events that may be explored in greater depth within additional videos in the future. So without further ado, let's begin.
I am Alpharius.
The Alpha Legion is a traitor Space Marine Legion which turned against the Imperium during the course of the Civil War known as the Horus Heresy. Like all Space Marines, each member of the Alpha Legion is a genetically enhanced transhuman super soldier, which is larger, stronger, faster, and tougher than a typical human. While many of their contemporaries would turn from the Emperor's light out of anger, pride, or even petty spite, the Alpha Legion did so seemingly with the intention of saving the galaxy. Of all the Space Marine legions, the Alpha Legion were undoubtedly the most secretive and mysterious, with much of the information regarding them being little more than a convoluted web of lies and misinformation. Indeed, the warriors of the Alpha Legion are renowned for being masters of deception and manipulation, and will often prefer to influence events from behind the scenes via their network of spies and cultists. Despite this preference for covert operations, the Alpha Legion are nonetheless incredibly skilled and deadly warriors who are more than capable of defeating their foes through sheer brute force should the situation demand it. To those forced to do battle against the Alpha Legion, only one thing is certain. Little if anything regarding the Alpha Legion is truly what it seems.
War is simply the galaxy's hygiene.
Known to many as the Ghost Legion, the Hydra, the Harrowing, as well as many other informal designations during their earliest days, the Alpha Legion were initially founded as the 20th Legion of the Legione Astartes. Despite commonly being regarded as the last Space Marine Legion to have been created, little is known with any degree of certainty regarding when such a founding took place, due to multiple contradictory sources. Despite this, it is commonly regarded that the Legion, alongside the 6th and 18th Legions, would be initially founded both in secret and separately from the other legions, in order to prevent them from being potentially sabotaged by the Emperor's enemies. The primary purpose of the Legion during the later years of the Terran Unification Wars was to perform covert surgical strikes against key targets that stood against the Emperor, such as by assassinating the leaders of enemy forces. The warriors of the Legion at this time were known to operate in small cells known as Alpha units, presumably to aid in the purpose of infiltration and sabotage. Indeed, for a time, the Ghost Legion would remain as one of the smallest Space Marine legions, with the Emperor himself denying any and all requests to induct more warriors into the Legion's ranks. While the exact reasoning for such a decision is officially unknown, many have speculated that the Legion may have had some form of deficiency or flaw within their gene seed, or that the Legion had been specially selected to undergo additional forms of genetic augmentation. Others, however, have suggested that the Legion's numbers were kept low due to the specialist role performed by their Alpha units, while others still maintain that the true strength of the Legion itself was deliberately falsified, and that they had more warriors than official records may have suggested. During the course of the Great Crusade, the Ghost Legion would, for a time, all but vanish from official records, although reports would surface regarding a number of Alpha units operating within multiple theatres of war, conducting acts of sabotage, espionage, assassination, and target retrieval. Reports would even surface of these Alpha units masquerading as warriors from other legions for the purpose of achieving their objectives, ensuring that no survivors were left to witness their actions. Because of this, much of the information regarding the 20th Legion would remain unknown to the wider Imperium, with even the other Space Marine legions knowing preciously little about this so-called Ghost Legion. One of the few notable conflicts that the 20th Legion was believed to have participated in during this time was during the later years of the Rangdan Xenocides. a representative of the Legion would offer their aid to Lionel Johnson, the Primarch of the Dark Angels Legion, in order to destroy the race known as the Rangdan. However, whether or not the Dark Angels truly accepted the Ghost Legion's aid is a matter of debate, due to, once again, a number of contradictory accounts regarding this particular conflict. Eventually, the Legion would be reunited with their Primarch, Alpharius Omegon, and soon after, the Legion would officially be redesignated as the Alpha Legion. The exact details pertaining to the Primarch's rediscovery, however, remain somewhat unclear, as at least 3 conflicting accounts regarding this series of events are known to exist within the Legion's official records. Some claim that Alpharius led a boarding action upon a ship belonging to his brother Horus Lupercal of the Lunar Wolves Legion, while others state that the Primarch was enslaved by a Xenos race known as the Sloth, only for the Emperor himself to come to Alpharius' aid. Nonetheless, the Primarch of the Alpha Legion is himself one of the greatest secrets of the entire Legion, for the Alpha Legion did not have a singular Primarch, but 2, as Alpharius Omegon was in fact the twin brothers Alpharius and Omegon. Indeed, none outside of the Legion, save for perhaps the Emperor himself, is said to be aware of this fact. The twins were themselves noted to be the smallest of all the Primarchs, being roughly the same size as their Legion's warriors who, by some strange quirk of genetics, were noted to be far larger than the average Astartes. This in turn would allow Alpharius and Omegon to effortlessly blend in or even swap places with their gene sons, making it all but impossible for outsiders to discern the identity of the Primarchs. By extension, this would lead to most of the Legion's warriors to identify themselves to outsiders simply as Alpharius. Under the command of their Primarchs, the Alpha Legion would continue to utilize their underhanded tactics in order to achieve victory. While the Legion's methods were undeniably effective, with the Alpha Legion taking great pride in the fact that such methods had required a great deal of skill, they would draw great ire from many of the other legions, who viewed such practices as being cowardly or dishonorable. Because of this, a number of legions would frequently clash with or otherwise refuse to associate with the Alpha Legion altogether, although the Lunar Wolves were among the few legions that were genuinely impressed by the 20th Legion's level of skill. Because of the disdain shown to them by the other legions, the Alpha Legion would continue utilizing their preferred methods of waging war, using such tactics more and more frequently, as opposed to undertaking more conventional battlefield operations, seemingly out of spite. During the later years of the Crusade, a mere 2 years prior to the onset of the civil war known as the Horus Heresy, Alpharius and Omegon would capture a human perpetual known as John Grammaticus, who served as an agent for the mysterious Xenos organization known as the Cabal. After interrogating the perpetual, the Alpha Legion would journey to the world of 42 Hydra Tertius in order to meet with the Cabal, although Alpharius would ensure that his legion remained in a position of strength during the course of their meeting. The Cabal would then explain to Alpharius and Omegon that they had foreseen the events of the Horus Heresy, and that such a conflict had 2 potential outcomes for the galaxy, depending upon which side proved victorious. Should Horus win the war, then a fragment of the man that he once was would result in a Primarch instigating another brutal war, which would render humanity extinct within a mere 2 or maybe even 3 generations. This in turn would effectively destroy the Chaos Gods due to their inherent interest in the human race, sparing the rest of the galaxy from the threat of chaos. However, should the Emperor claim victory, then the Imperium would stagnate and degenerate into a fearful and fanatical state of mind. Not only that, but chaos itself would grow stronger and stronger for the next 10,000 years, eventually allowing the ruinous powers to consume the entire galaxy. After being informed of this prophecy, the Alpha Legion would decide to pledge their allegiance to Horus in order to ensure the very survival of the galaxy and the ultimate destruction of chaos. When news of Horus's rebellion reached Terra, following the events upon the world of Istvan III, the Alpha Legion would be one of 7 legions dispatched by Rogel Dawn, the Primarch of the Imperial Fists and newly appointed War Master of the Imperium in all but name. They were then sent to the world of Istvan V, the new base of operations for the traitor legions, in order to quash Horus's nascent rebellion. Little did Dawn realize that the Alpha Legion, along with the Night Lords, Word Bearers, and Iron Warriors, had pledged themselves to Horus's cause. This would result in the near destruction of the Loyalist Raven Guard, Salamanders, and Iron Hands legions, with the slaughter becoming known within Imperial records as the Drop Site Massacre. During the course of the slaughter, a number of Alpha Legionnaires would succeed in infiltrating the ranks of the Raven Guard, with such double agents undergoing surgical alteration and facial transplant surgery in order to disguise themselves as members of the 19th Legion. These agents would in turn prove instrumental in sabotaging the Raven Guard's Raptor project, the Legion's attempt to rapidly replenish the losses they had sustained during the course of the Drop Site Massacre. This sabotage caused the transformation of a number of aspirant raptors into shambling monstrosities, before the agents absconded with the gene tech and data being utilized by the Raven Guard in the creation of the raptors. The Legion would also send agents to infiltrate many, if not all, of the other legions, although Horus would order for his first captain, Ezekiel Abaddon, to hunt down and eliminate any Alpha Legion spies within his own legion's ranks. The Alpha Legion would also be responsible for a number of smaller yet no less important events throughout the Heresy, such as attempting to contain the as of yet unaligned White Scars Legion within the boundaries of the Chondak system, although certain elements within the Legion would ensure that the White Scars would side with the Loyalists. A cadre of Alpha Legion agents that had infiltrated the ranks of the Loyalist Ultramarines Legion would even attempt to assassinate the Primarch Rabute Gilliman, though they would prove unsuccessful in this endeavour. Eventually, the Alpha Legion would be tasked with preparing for the inevitable invasion of the Sol system, and would begin a series of infiltration and espionage operations within the system. The Alpha Legion's primary goal appeared to be the capture of Pluto, which served as a key component within the Sol system's overall communication and surveillance network. However, the Imperial Fists Legion would launch an assault against the Alpha Legion, leading to the Battle of Pluto. During the course of this battle, Rogel Dawn would succeed in slaying Alpharius in single combat, forcing the Alpha Legion to retreat. Omegon, who had not been present at Pluto, would sense his twin brother's death, and realize that he was now truly alone. Omegon would assume his slain twin's identity, making it appear as if Alpharius was indeed still alive. Soon after this series of events, however, the Alpha Legion would appear to abandon the war effort altogether, with Omegon, now Alpharius, making one last appearance during the traitor muster at Ulanor before leaving Horus's forces to their fate.
All power demands sacrifice and pain. The universe rewards those willing to spill their lives' blood for the promise of power.
Following the defeat of Horus's forces during the Siege of Terra, the majority of the traitor legions would retreat into the depths of the warp space rift known as the Eye of Terror. The Alpha Legion would prove to be one of the few exceptions to this, however, and would instead relocate the majority of their forces towards the Galactic East. This migration would eventually result in the Alpha Legion coming into conflict with the Ultramarines upon the world of Escrador, which supposedly saw Omegon being slain by Rabute Gilliman with but a single blow. Despite the apparent death of their Primarch, the Alpha Legion continued to fight on with such ferocity that the Ultramarines would ultimately be driven from the world. As such, whether or not Omegon truly died that day remains a subject for debate and speculation even now. Eventually, the Alpha Legion would begin to fracture into numerous cells and warbands in order to hide from Imperial forces. Nonetheless, the Alpha Legion continued to wage their wars against the Imperium, typically by seeding various heretical cults and stirring civil unrest into full-scale rebellion against the Imperium. This would even result in the Legion utilizing psycho-indoctrination and hypnotherapy in order to create and seed countless numbers of civilian sleeper agents and operatives who are, consciously or otherwise, fiercely loyal to the Legion. It will be these operatives who will typically instigate much of the civil unrest prior to a full-scale Alpha Legion assault, allowing the Astartes to crush their foes with a rapid and overwhelming show of force when their target is at its weakest. It was due to such actions that the Alpha Legion would succeed in destroying a number of loyalist Space Marine chapters, including that of the Emperor's Swords and Crimson Consuls, before making off with their reserves of gene seed stocks for themselves. While some aspects of the Alpha Legion would gradually become corrupted by the temptations of chaos, others would, somewhat surprisingly, appear to devote themselves to both the strengthening of the Imperium itself, as well as follow the tenets of the cult Imperialis, viewing the Emperor of Mankind as a god incarnate. Despite this, these faithful elements within the Alpha Legion would continue to combat against the Emperor's forces, in order to purge the weak and feeble from mankind's domain, and in turn make the Imperium stronger, so that it may in turn stand defiantly against even greater threats to humanity. In addition, while the Alpha Legion are not necessarily adverse from utilizing demonic entities within their operations, the Legion's warriors are known to find such creatures inherently unreliable. Because the Alpha Legion rarely, if ever, operates near the boundaries of the Eye of Terror, the majority of the Legion's warriors are not subjected to the time-distorting effects of warp space, which allows the majority of those surviving Traitor Legion Astartes from the time of the Horus Heresy to continue waging their war against the Imperium to this day. Because of this, many within the Inquisition have sought to determine just how exactly the Alpha Legion is not only able to continue operating within the present day, but how they induct new recruits into their ranks, with some even suggesting that the Legion conducts such operations within the very heart of Imperial territory. While the gene seed of the Alpha Legion will not be subjected to the same warping effects experienced by those traitor legions that dwell within the Eye of Terror, it has been known to produce spontaneous mutations. Those that are afflicted with such deformities will often conceal them from their foe, before revealing them during the heat of battle in order to intimidate, confuse and ultimately wrongfoot their opponents. Whether such gene seed flaws existed prior to the events of the Horus Heresy remains unknown, although given the Alpha Legion's predilection towards secrecy, it wouldn't be surprising if this were indeed the case. And that concludes this episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. If you liked this video, consider supporting us on Patreon for more content. To those that are new to 40k, we hope you learned something. So leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.